Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. Hopefully, we will get a bunch of people to come in here after the Xbox Bethesda stream. I do want to apologize for the early technical difficulties of no sound during the live event. I've reached out to StreamYards to figure out what I was doing wrong, or maybe it's something that they don't offer, or it's a more premium service. I don't know. We will definitely get to the bottom of that for sure. Um, but this was a bit of a groundbreaking roundtable, if you will. We got the answers. I think a lot of people were wondering, and Joe immediately went to the trophy room and put out something rather funny, saying goodbye, Bethesda. It was nice to know you, Joe. I know we only got you for 15 minutes, so let's get your opinion on this as the show is close to being over. Obviously, some of the biggest wigs, if you were there. Phil Spencer, Pete Hines was there. Zemi's Lord and Savior, Todd Howard. A bunch of people who obviously hold significant positions within Xbox and make some big time decisions. Before we get you out of here, Joe, what were your takeaways from this? Did they answer the big question? Are games exclusive?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I think in the clearest way that they can at the moment. I like what Phil Spencer said. There's a lot of people wanted an answer immediate, but we told y'all guys months in advance that's not how this works.
Right.
But he says, as clear as day is, Bethesda games will be available anywhere there's Game Pass.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So whatever contractual obligations that they have, currently with other entities, whether that be Disney, whether that be Sony at the moment, those will be multi-platform. If other than that, though, it is the slow turning of Bethesda games being a first-party studio. I really did like the way he's like, anywhere there's Game Pass, because what you don't want to do is alienate potential clients to your Game Pass service. So
right,
to me, that very much screamed not so much PlayStation, but like, let's put this thing on Switch. I know they really, really want to put this thing on Switch. And I hopefully think in the next coming months, hopefully a year or two, that becomes a reality. So it's cool that he kind of said it without saying it, but saying it in a more definitive manner that, yeah, Bethesda games, not from here on out, but soon will be an Xbox first party, exclusive, which is fantastic.
Now, Joe, I have a question for you, Joe, because I know that we got you for limited time. So, of course, I want you to answer this. Okay, so now Phil Spencer gets out there and he says, for everyone to hear, wherever Game Pass is available, you can play Bethesda games. Here's my question to you as a Sony fan. Now, we know what you're going to do, right? We know that you love trophies, but you're not spending $70. You'll play it on Game Pass. A lot of people won't. What is Jim Ryan thinking right now?
Great idea.
Is he thinking, holy shit, I might have to have Xbox Game Pass as an application very similar to Netflix on the PlayStation? Does that happen? And what happens if it does? What happens with the fan base? Do they cry foul? Do they get excited? Do they laugh? Do they cry? Do they jump off bridges? What happens next?
Well, here's what I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, so which studio would you keep, or which one would you leave, or put like Bethesda next to Naughty Dog and like all that
ridiculous.
Shit.
Yeah,
this is a really huge get, and we can first off, let's just congratulate. This is something we've never seen before. So like Microsoft has some stellar studios that I know I'm gonna miss as a PlayStation gamer, like Machine Games, like id. I'm gonna miss those games, man. I'm gonna miss those studios. So I think if I'm big Jimbo Ryan, I'm definitely we talked about this before the show. They are a much smaller company, than Microsoft as a whole. So they very much have to take the step back and see what Xbox and Microsoft are doing before they can start taking those steps. At the same exact time, they don't have the first party problem that Microsoft has had, which is seemingly going to be fixed rather soon, which is like their games sell without a service. So like until the day where and maybe this is like with Ratchet and Horizon or whatever have you, the time where it, you know, that $70 price tag actually starts hurting those sales. I don't think they're in a total rush to put their games on a service or their new games on a service. If I am Jim Ryan, and this is just purely me in that role, I am going, okay, we just lost so many RPGs. We need to fill out this portfolio with something. That's my first thought is, okay, so now we lost first person RPGs, or we lost a big chunk of RPGs. How do we make up that ground? Because suddenly now you're behind the 8 ball, right? My second thought too is, okay, we know Sony's working on something big with Game Pass, Jesus, with PlayStation Now. Jim alluded to it last year.
I recall that conversation. Yeah.
Yep. We got to see what does this deal push Sony to do, because it definitely is going to push them somewhere. I hate to say it, like I hate to be, and I said this on Trophy Room last night, of like the consolidating guy. You know me, I don't like it. So like I don't think the answer is like to go out there and just like go on a spending spree, because you do have 16 really talented studios alone.
Yes.
So it's not like you have to go tit for tat, but you know, yeah, it is taking a look at your portfolio now, seeing that there is a space there, and how do you go about that? The other problem too, and maybe problem, put an asterisk on it, is Sony's been the kingmaker when it comes to second party deals. How does that change with Microsoft's spending spree as well? That's something to consider. If I'm Sony, maybe I need to change up the tactic. But honestly, Sony needs studios that hit for major Western audiences, worldwide audiences, and they are, as we've seen the last few weeks, trying to become a leaner company and trying to do all that. So it's a big question you ask. But honestly, the SparkNotes version is I'm taking a look at my portfolio and I'm taking a look at my studios and seeing what I can do. Ship ain't on fire, it ain't sinking or anything like that. But you do want to check if there's leaks. You know what I mean? You don't want a Titanic situation where the boiler room explodes or whatever happened in the Titanic.
And you know what? I mean, listen, you're making a lot of points, Joe. First of all, I don't want to hold you up. I know that usually we're out of here by 2. Obviously, we had to stop due to some technical issues. We will be discussing this further tomorrow morning. So by all means, Joe, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the Xbox Factor on Breakfast at Boom. But I want to continue with our panel members. Semi, are you there,
Everybody,
brother?
love y'all.
Love you too, brother.
I am. I didn't even know that you restarted the show. I was still watching the Bethesda show, and then I looked over and I saw that you were live for like 2 minutes.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, God, I need to go back.
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, let's welcome. Obviously, I want to give Joe his proper outro. We have obviously the Trophy Room, which is what he and his best friend Kyle do each and every week. He just dropped a new episode, and you know what? It was great to have him here because he actually said what a PlayStation fan would say. He's going to miss Bethesda on the PlayStation, and it appears that in fact is the case. And we want to welcome in Tempest Sun, who's taking his place. Tempest Sun, he is obviously a big voice in this community, a sniper elite in his own right online. Tempest, thanks for joining us, brother. I'm going to get to you in a second. Zemi Games,
Yes.
The big question was answered, and I think it's in bold print. Where Xbox Game Pass is available, you can play Bethesda games. What are your thoughts on this? Was this the definitive answer? Did you expect it so soon?
You know, I didn't 100% expect it during the show. I thought that this was going to be more maybe of a long game, that they were going to, just really milk this cow for everything that it's worth. And really play the long game with like this type of news. Maybe during E3 we would get it. And I think that it is very, very safe to say that if you are a PlayStation person, do not put a lot of, too much into the hope that certain titles will go over to PlayStation. Now, with that being said, I do believe that there, like any PR speak, and in many ways that was PR speak. I think that there are some outs that was put in there. For instance, Phil Spencer, and one part of the show said, even in the future, there might be things that either have contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we will do. That legacy on different platforms, I think, can be interpreted very, very widely in the sense of, that in the future could allow certain Bethesda titles, or just the ZeniMax titles, over onto the PlayStation platform. But even with that being said, the message that was sent was, if you have an Xbox, you will be able to play. If you have a PlayStation, you'll be able to play under very, 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 very tight circumstances.
I mean, tight circumstances, or
being contractual like reasons, and so on and so forth, and whatever the legacy that Phil Spencer meant would imply.
I have a little, if I may, while I have time
jump on in, brother, because you were going crazy on the DM, and obviously you mentioned something about some folks on other mainstream medias losing their SSHIT over this. But what are your thoughts on this, Tempest? Because obviously, you're normally working. For you to jump in, you obviously have a lot to say. Let's hear what you got to say.
Yeah, though, I just on what Zemi said, and our good friend Mag in our chat too. He's hung up on the legacy part. If we know one thing about Bethesda, they kind of have Nintendo-itis, and what I mean by that is they re-release stuff. I wouldn't put it past Bethesda to say release a special edition of Skyrim or something of the sort. If you were to apply legacy just means things from the past, and in most cases bringing them new. If he made that comment, then that would mean there'd be no exclusive games. Because listen, Bethesda does not do one-offs; they do series. Every game they have has something tied to it. I mean, the reason Starfield's a big deal is because it's the first new IP in like 15 or 20 years or whatever it is. So that would mean nothing is exclusive, which would be a total contradiction to what he just said. I feel if they come out with like a super, Elder Scrolls pack, or they remaster Oblivion or something of that nature, something that used to be on a Sony platform, I could see maybe that coming forward. But I wouldn't take legacy as the stuff that's on there, now, and the future iterations of said properties being brought forward. I don't think they're going to do that. Listen, the fact that the very, very first question asked from Pete Hines was speak on exclusivity. They didn't hold this to the end. They didn't just gloss over it super quickly. Phil said clear as day, we couldn't even plan this stuff. So really now you're looking at Phil for the first time speaking on it, actually owning Bethesda. And this is his first statement. And he pretty much just said, we did this for exclusive content on where Game Pass is. So unless Sony signs that dotted line and they let Game Pass on their system, which they're just never going to do, it is what it is, man. Bethesda is an Xbox property. So from here on out, it's Xbox all the way. The only outlier I could see, and I think it probably might still be exclusive just because it's such a big deal, but is Indiana Jones. They announced that while Xbox could not make the decisions yet.
Right.
So it may be Indiana Jones, maybe Starfield, although I think Starfield's exclusive. Starfield has been in the making, and I feel it's coming out this year. So if that's the case, that PS5 version was like probably 70% done. So we'll see. But no, man, like I feel the next Elder Scrolls, the next Wolfenstein, I mean, you name it, the next Arcane exclusive, next Doom, it's all going to be exclusive, Xbox. So that's my take.
I got to tell you, I absolutely agree with you 1000%. I think it was balls of steel and needed to be done to start the show with the question of exclusivity. I think that was super important. I think Phil actually said a few things where I've heard that from the fans, and we got to address it. Before I get to the rest of the panel, obviously we got 200 people here. I don't know if this is going to be a successful stream or not because I had to stop the first stream to start Obviously, there was some sound issues. Again, if you're new, this is not normally how it works. We usually get all of the check boxes, checked off before we go live. I've never done a live event like that, so it may be something that I did wrong. But rest assured, as soon as StreamYards corrects me in what I was doing, the next live stream that we happen to be doing, it's going to work flawlessly. Again, this was a shot in the dark. I didn't know if it was going to work. It didn't, and obviously I apologize for that. But we're back, and now we're going to be breaking it down. But before I get to the rest of the panel, I think everyone is really going to have a lot to say. I want to read some of the important quotes from Phil Spencer regarding this. And this is where he starts out with. He says, so obviously, I can't sit here and say every Bethesda game is exclusive because we know that that's not true. There are contractual obligations that we are going to see through, as we always do in every one of these instances. We have games that exist on other platforms, and we're going to go and support those games on those platforms that they are currently on. There are communities of players we love. There are communities of players. We love those players, and we're going to invest in them. And even in the future, there might be things that have either contractual things or legacy on different platforms that we'll go and do. But if you're an Xbox customer, one thing I want you to know is this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists. There is that's the crux of it. Finally, he says, and that's our goal. That's why we're doing this. That's the root of this partnership we're building, and the creative capability we'll be able to bring to market for our Xbox customers is going to be the best it has ever been for Xbox. Archimedes, let's get to you right away on this. This is the line in the sand I think we've all been wanting. And again, I'm not going to be poking fun at Sony players. I because we don't do console wars shenanigans on this channel, and I don't think anybody here on this panel actually invests in console war nonsense. But this was important. This is the way you lead off an event. I think that it's clear as day. I think there's some people like IGN trying to spin this into what legacy means, and of course we know IGN is notorious for doing that. And I'll see the fit that they apparently had. What does this say to you, Archimedes?
It is the statement we've all wanted. I didn't expect for Phil to roll out a list and say this game will be exclusive, this one won't be. But it is basically what we have been saying on the show. I've been saying it on my in my videos ever since they announced the intent of acquiring Bethesda, that they will have the certain ongoing games that will be exclusive, won't be exclusive, pardon me. So games like Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls Online, they will continue to support that. That was clear. Then they are obviously going to honor the contracts they already have. So games like Deathloop or Ghostwire Tokyo, of course, they will keep those on the PlayStation side. But the intention when you spend $7.5 billion is to grow your ecosystem, and you the best way to grow it is to have something on the platform that you cannot get anywhere else, and that's exclusives. And that's why I really am happy that he finally gave us the statement. And before I go into why I think it is the right move to do exclusivity like that, let me put it this way, and I've said it on my video 2 days ago. If they wouldn't have given a clear statement, that vague statement they gave 2 days ago in the Xbox Wire article is really a problem for us gamers and the entire industry. Because let's face it, if they wouldn't have come out with a clear statement, we would have had that exclusivity discussion with every game announcement. And I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of people arguing about this. And I haven't checked Twitter yet, but I'm 100% sure that there's. Pardon me?
Is it blowing up a 3-bit?
It is blowing up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably blowing up, and I bet there is a ton of toxicity out there. But let me get one thing clear. Here is why every PlayStation owner should be happy that those games are exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, because it puts pressure on Sony. It's what we've been saying for a long time here in the podcast. I know VJ has been saying it. You have been saying it, Boom. A lot of people have been saying it on this show. Sony needs competition. And the best way to do that is with exclusivity. Put pressure on them. It's the only way how Sony won't start the next generation by increasing the game prices, by lying to the customer base, and so on. That's the only way how you can do that is when you have such a market share as you have it now. Now, with those games becoming exclusives, the gap going into this next generation, the gap in between Microsoft and Sony will become smaller. And people always confuse when I say that. I'm not saying I want Xbox to quote unquote win. It's not about winning. I want them to do both well, but I want to be them on par, because that drives the competition, and that's where we gamers win the most from. Yeah, if Sony and Microsoft are really fighting for our wallets, and none of them can get cocky and make game prices like that, like Sony has it, that's not what we want. And that's why PlayStation owners will also benefit to some degree with this exclusivity. And yeah, now I'm really looking forward to see what they have teased with this summer event. What we will get there to see. I bet Starfield is definitely coming, and it will be the
no doubt about that. Yeah,
it will be the first big exclusive. There's no doubt in my mind, because you cannot start this relationship by saying, we bought them to make exclusive games, and then the first game you announce won't be an exclusive. So Starfield is going to be exclusive. There's zero doubt in my mind. We will see it this summer. But I really like the other parts of the event as well. They really talked about a little bit from their history. There was such a positive spirit in the room. You could feel they are excited to finally start as one unit. They have great things coming. They are really looking forward to share their technology. This is what also got me so excited.
The talk of the ID tech potentially coming into some of the Xbox first party, it blew my mind. But you know something? You know who I found to be my favorite there, who is as passionate, I think, as we are? Sarah Bond. Can we give her a round of applause? My God.
Absolutely.
She is I want you to know, listen, I don't know what's going to happen with current brass, Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, but when I say she is a shining star for Xbox, and thank God that they have her where they have her, I think she's the future of the brand, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. She's a great person on camera. She's well spoken, and you can really tell that she brings a lot of new ideas into the Xbox realm. I bet it's not a coincidence that she leads basically the external partnerships, and with that basically all things Game Pass. And we talked about this in our first show before the stream. How important Game Pass is, and for her to basically lead that service is just a great thing. And there was a lot of overall excitement and positive spirit in that stream that I really liked. Even though we didn't get much news except the exclusivity statement, it was really something. I'm pumped right now. I want to play games now.
Well, listen. You know what? Let me bring this to. Damn, I don't know who we lost. We might have lost. Okay, I think we might have lost Tempest. If he comes back, he has the link. Logan Meyer, are you there, sir?
I am indeed here. Boom.
Okay, so Logan, first of all, let's get your opinion on a couple of things. The way that this event, show, video opened up was powerful. I think that the expectation, for me personally, as someone who covers the industry, I like to say professionally, but I don't know how professional my show really is, that I was taken aback, but they attacked the exclusivity right away. And I want to say a big shout out to Pete Hines for softballing that question right over to Phil and Phil answering it definitively. Yes, was it corporate speak? Sure. But was the answer that everyone, was the question answered that everyone was asking about exclusivity? I think it was. What were your thoughts on the way Phil broke this down?
I first off, I want to say that I think Uncle Pete did a phenomenal job of moderating that entire
He
thing.
absolutely did. Yeah.
It was just a brilliant showcase. Everybody was, you could just feel the enthusiasm and the passion, and that, like, you know, we're a family, we're a unit, and just hearing about all the studios, learning about each and every one of them and their culture and their unique fits, it just feels natural that Bethesda and Xbox are now 23 Xbox studios. It just, their collaboration, it makes me so excited for the future, thinking about, you know, if id already collaborated with Machine Games on this, imagine id and Coalition doing some absolutely bonkers shooter game, or just, it's just awesome. And as for the exclusivity thing, I am very, very happy that they just, you know, they just answered it. That it's what we wanted, and they did. They obviously, there are some things they can't say because, you know, legal contractual reasons.
Yes.
There are some you can't 100% say on some titles, but from my interpretation of how he addressed it is that, you know, there's going to be some games that will absolutely be multi-plat, like probably Elder Scrolls Online. The games that are already established on those platforms, multiplayer or need an online basis. Maybe the whole legacy comment refers to like a Wolfenstein 3 being allowed to be multi-plat so people can experience the end of a trilogy. Maybe that's not, maybe that's just a reach, but in one way I could see them just allowing people to experience the end of that trilogy as a quote legacy. But the vast majority, he says, you know, you have to have Game Pass to get these games. They're exclusive to Game Pass. So that puts the ball in PlayStation and Nintendo's quarter. And like, would they really consider adding Game Pass to their platforms if they want Bethesda titles? Because it definitely sounds like if they don't have Game Pass, that these suckers are stuck on Xbox. So I was really proud of how they did it, and I can't wait for the future.
You know, I agree. And first of all, let me just welcome in the nearly 800 people that are here, folks. I'm not sure if my panel understands that we have almost 800 people here, which is bonkers. Everyone is excited.
Them, and please hit that like button for Boom. Boom is such a hardworking
sure.
podcaster.
Thanks,
I say
guys.
it all the time. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that like button. No one can see if you hit the like button. It's completely anonymous. So please just do him a favor. No, actually, I read an article the other day that people don't like to hit the like button because they are not sure if people can see what they liked. And you know, a lot of people watch with their real name accounts, and so they just don't want to do that. It's apparently a thing. So it's completely anonymous. It doesn't cost anything. And it helps Boom really, really out to grow his channel, to get this show out. And yeah, please do that. It's greatly appreciated.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you so much for that. We lost Zemi somehow. I don't know if Zemi had to go. I'll hit him up privately, but let me just catch up on some of the super chats that continue to come in. Smitty Smith, our brother, bringing us back to church once again. And he says this after dropping a $2 super chat. Welcome home, Bethesda, the Book of X. Jericho Jackson, welcome to the program there, Jericho. Thanks for being here. He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says this: legacy could mean the MMOs as they get expansions. I believe that's what it means. To be honest with you, I think you're really onto something. Real quick, we got to throw a big shout out to Cotton McCast. He's a good friend of this show, good friend of the community. Cotton, welcome back, brother. See you in the chat. Hopefully you are doing well. Lonely Boy 221133 drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he says this: Phil Spencer confirmed collaborations between team. Love it. Obsidian plus Bethesda at some point over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll sure deliver a Fallout collab. Yeah, you know what? Listen to me. I have a feeling that the Fallout New Vegas 2 is already in the works, one way or another. Six Slayer drops a $2 super chat. Thank you for the generosity. He says today has been a day of validation. Enough said. Indeed, Six Slayer. Bernard Miller drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, didn't they say the older Bethesda games go on Game Pass tomorrow? Yes, 20 of them. 20 Bethesda games are getting dropped tomorrow in Game Pass. The
And some of them
value
will get the FPS boost, guys.
Yes, the FPS boost. This is just insane. John B, generous friend of the show, he says this after dropping a $5 super chat. I love how Phil Spencer wants to go to Tokyo first, still wants to make a mark in Japan. Yeah, it's his passion for that region of the world is real, and this is why we all love Phil, and we're happy that he is running the show. JC Claramore drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I bought the PlayStation 4 for the Medieval remake and Mario Edition Switch for Pokemon. Exclusives are massively important. Indeed, JC, they certainly are. Pixel Bit G drops a very generous $5 super chat, and great to see you here, Pixel. He says, no, legacy means existing titles will remain on those platforms. New games are new games, and no soup for you. I love it. And I think he's right. Michael Kullick. Wow, Michael. Thank you so much. He drops an outstanding, very generous $20 super chat and says this. If Sony wants to compete, all they need to do is restructure PlayStation Now to be like Game Pass. First-party titles being there permanently, I agree 100%, and lower barrier for entry. Jim Ryan seems to have a different mindset, though, and I agree with you. Lucius Augustus, thanks for being here, Lucius. He says this after dropping a $5 super chat. These PlayStation dudes are on Twitter still claiming that they'll get those games despite what Phil says. Delusion is a power tool. Yeah, I walked away from that pretty much thinking that, yeah, the exclusives are going to be on Microsoft's box or PC, wherever Xbox Game Pass is. Kay Asante drops a very generous $5 super chat. Great to see you here, brother. Hopefully you are well. I said it before, and I'm happy to be right. Xbox gave into iOS, Android, Steam, and Twitch. No way they'll do that for PlayStation. They don't need them. Indeed, they don't. The Wandering Dutch. Hey, Dutch, what's up, dude? Hopefully you're doing well. Love what he does with this community. He says this after a generous $5 super chat. Phil said, what I've been saying from the start. Expected it. Glad it's clarified. Great show. Yeah, it was a great show indeed. Pixelbit G shows his generosity again with another $2 super chat. Fallout was based on Wasteland, both IPs for Xbox, indeed. And Gary Duddle, welcome, Gary. Wow, he drops a very generous $30 super chat and says, Microsoft just saved me hundreds of dollars over the next few years with so many great titles going into Game Pass. Thanks for the friendly podcast that always has amazing guests and for helping me find the trophy room. Oh, dude, Gary, I'm glad you did, brother. And thank you for your generosity, man. Definitely appreciate that. 3-bit.
Yeah.
We talked about this. You specifically, along with VJ, had some outstanding points in the first podcast we did to start today. And here we are talking about what just transpired. How big of a deal and how big were their balls to talk about this right out of the gate?
I think it's amazing that Phil's on Twitter right now, like replying to Paris, saying, like basically making fun of the whole situation. Yeah, it's amazing, man. First off, working at different studios, it's you always get, I guess, people who aren't as collaborative. You see like different personalities and stuff, but just the energy I saw from that video, how all these teams are collaborating and how much they admire each other, and a common theme I saw throughout that whole live stream was how they embrace ideas, and that is how you get things done. And that's what I was worried about. If anything, I've always said since the beginning, I thought that was going to happen. I always said Elder Scrolls Online, that makes sense. Basically what he was saying, legacy titles, kind of like a Minecraft. Well, Minecraft is a legacy title. Basically, legacy to me means re-releases, like another Skyrim, or some type of reboot or something like that, or MMO, right? Those are like legacy titles. Everything else, and I apologize for my little puppy. That to me is pretty much what's going to happen. This is just massive. I wasn't expecting Phil to go out at the very beginning of the show, just basically saying like, hey, where Game Pass lies, that is pretty much where you will get these games. And that was pretty much what I was going to say. But when you introduced this topic, I was going to say, hey, it makes sense. Like for Disney Plus, you see Disney is not releasing their content on Netflix. It's the same thing. The subscription at the end of the day matters more. Disney Plus just jumped to like 100 million subscriptions, and they expect it to hit that goal in 2024. So they hit it about 3 to 4 years early.
That is correct. Yep.
So why did it suddenly jump content and exclusive quality, like shows like Mandalorian and WandaVision, right? So what you have here is just a massive deal. It's a very monumental moment in gaming history, and it's going to be kind of ridiculous these next few days with gaming these huge sites, because it's just the way it is. I hope they're getting what we've been saying, and maybe not. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to focus on the games, kind of like Archimedes was saying. Clear statement, Archimedes. I think this is, as clear as it's going to get, and if there's a contract out there, then, those games will be on other platforms. Something like Starfield, I saw a couple times, like even Pong Soul, he's in the chat. He's like, hey, Boom, this is what we were talking about. I think we could kind of see already Starfield not being or being an exclusive because of what Jim Ryan said, right? He's like, I don't even know if Starfield is going to be on PS5. So that's already clarified to me just from his statement on that. We already know they tried to get it. So amazing announcement. I'm excited for these studios. It's really cool that they are underneath an umbrella that has even more money. So now they can do more.
You know what? You got to understand something. Again, I love your perspective because you work in the industry, so you understand that when you're working for a developer and they don't know how they're going to pay the next rent or keep the lights on or pay their staff, that's a scary disposition. What this does for Microsoft, especially because of a lot of those smaller studios, they're going to be able to not only bring forth their visions, they're going to be able to do that not worrying if they're going to get paid. And that is a big deal, folks. That is where, when we look between the bylines, how important this is. And Pong, if you're in the chat, you want to jump on, check your DM. I just sent you a link, brother. I sent the link to Cotton McCass if you want to jump in and give your opinion. Gaz from Game On Daily got one as well. If you guys want to jump on, the golden ticket has been issued, so feel free to jump in. But strong point, VJ. I mean 3-bit. But let's get to VJ. VJ, look, we're closing in on 900 people here, which is a record for this particular program, folks. This is a small channel. I do want to please suggest that if you're new, if you're finding Double Barrel Gaming for the first time, I do 4 weekly live shows, 2 of which are Xbox. There is no console war shenanigans here. We don't curse. We try not to curse on the air. This is a family program, and I do all the work myself. No interns, and I listen. I would love to get some new subscribers. I think you're going to dig the work for sure. This community, specifically this chat, is the best in the business, and it's run by the people for the people. So if you are new, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button on your way in or out. It would be tremendously appreciated. But VJ, yes, sir. VJ, I think that when you say the phrase "turning the corner," I think that not only did Phil turn the corner, like I just did on the video I'm playing in the background, he broke through the wall. To start this, I mean, depending on who you were going to ask, thought that this was going to be a stroke fest, where it was not. It was a very, very deliberate sit down between some of the biggest minds within Xbox, and they answered the hard questions. In fact, again, Pete Hines, hats off to Pete Hines for dropping the megaton to start the show. It set the pace, in my opinion. Where do you sit on the exclusivity? Was it clear enough for you?
My thoughts are not that much different to what I said before the event started, and since last year, when the deal was first announced. What I took away is all Bethesda content will be in Game Pass, and Phil will deploy all content at his disposal strategically, much of it exclusively or contractually or historically sewn into the fabric of pop culture. This is exactly what I said last year. You can see that he very carefully worded what he said. He doesn't want to alienate other communities entirely, as he knows right now. He's not arrogant, boisterous, or large enough yet to alienate existing gamers. The only guarantee that he made clear to me, and I need to listen back to it again, and you know that I like to listen and have a cup of tea and let things percolate before I speak, but I know that time is of the essence today. So everything will go into Game Pass. That's the guarantee, which is all about inclusiveness. And he talked to, what did he use again? The words that I used earlier: community, right? Inclusiveness, right? No one left behind. Xbox hardware, he didn't really mention it, and he's consistent in the fact that it's an option for the best experience. Exactly what we've been saying on the show. When you start out, it doesn't matter how big you are with a new endeavor, and Game Pass is a new endeavor, and you're starting out and building. Forced conscription yields poor results. Both Sony and Xbox have tried these tactics before, and we've known the outcome of approaching much smarter, can I say, audience or public than it was before. If you really look at what Phil was doing, he is playing the game, but in a more subtle, seductive, cunning, and devilish way, in order to pull in a lot more subs than the modest 20 million subs they currently have right now. Or it forces, as Tempest was saying, and we've discussed it on the show, that it forces other platform holders to think about including Game Pass as a service or build an alternative. I mean, fans, especially ultra fans, and you know who you are, right? We come across them all the time. We'll make individual comments, and I've seen them, right, on Twitter and so on and so forth, just after the show, and on previous events that have gone by, and they can set a precedence of acceptance and non-acceptance, as is their right, as to how Xbox is run, and decisions that are made regarding certain games in development, let alone exclusivity. I'm saying Phil and Xbox are seemingly want to, in my opinion, and everything that I've heard him say over the last 7, 8, 9 months, maybe actually back to when the Xbox, more than that, right? 2019, when he announced the Series X at the Game Awards, he wants to transcend individual voices and tribalistic tendencies, and it irritates him. And he's come out and said it as well. And I think he's looking within and beyond, above those voices, and he needs to, if the brand's to grow and flourish. I sometimes feel like the public want to set company policy, and I know we get excited. We're gamers, and we don't mean it, right? But we've already given the responsibility to Phil to make the wisest and the most intelligent choice. And even if you agree or disagree with it, and I said it, what was it, last week or the week before? Whatever he does, you have to just respect it, right? He's come this far, and he hasn't really done anything wrong, right? He hasn't really taken a misstep, has he? And all I can say, you can choose to respect what Phil is doing, especially since the game that is afoot is in its infancy. It's large, wide, deep, and more complex than any of us can really fathom. And I wanted to talk about Sony, but if there is time, but I just want to stick.
No, by all means, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I just want to got a bit more say on Xbox, and depending on time, then I'll talk about where Sony and Nintendo stand, and maybe that's a topic for another show. But 5 months ago, I talked extensively about the point of convergence, Other platform holders will inevitably follow suit in some sort of fashion at some point in the future in order to compete or vie for perhaps the same subscribers or even a larger subscriber base if Phil's ambition and vision becomes a reality. Sony in 1994 took a niche industry and made it mainstream. Microsoft is potentially going to expand the industry from 200 million console gamers perhaps to 300 or 500 million, made up of a mixture of hardware owners or subscribers. It's safe to say if Xbox are successful, Sony and Nintendo, even if they become the new respective number 2 or number 3, will have by default a far more valuable and profitable business than they have today. You just look at it like that, right? So I don't think anyone's unhappy or should be unhappy if you're looking at purely from a business perspective. I mean, I'm going to remain consistent in my perspective, which spanned back to last year when no one kind of agreed, but perhaps really did or does, in terms of how management of Bethesda's content will go, exclusives of not exclusive, in my mind is kind of an immature perspective. To Mr. Badbit's point, I spoke extensively several months ago that the fact that only 1.4% of Sony's 1.2 billion units of PS software sales were related to Bethesda IP. So the question is, does Sony care? I think they have to, because I think the ball game is changing. But also, for me, it's no longer about just about a Game Pass service with exclusive content. That's becoming antiquated thinking. The new mature normal, I think, that Phil's going for is strength and depth in continuity of content and new IP in deploying of said content and IP across all time and space. I'm sorry if this sounds like a preface to a Doctor Who episode. That's not my intention. Anyway, that's what I think Phil is at least thinking about. It reminds me of a quote one of your most sort of beloved first ladies, Eleanor Roosevelt, once said, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." Game Pass is the main objective. A Series S or X is somewhat a choice and a preference. For subscribers, it's going to be, for subscribers, above and beyond the core hardcore, it's going to be about the value proposition of exactly what and how much is available from a subscription-based service at any point in time, regardless of where else the corporation deploys its content. And eventually said consumer won't care less if specific games are available on other devices. The nature of which content is being consumed is changing. I'm seeing it, compared to when the industry first boomed. So what I'm kind of noticing is that for consumers that will subscribe and grow Xbox exponentially are always going to look at value and accessibility, quality, variety, and continuity. And with the Bethesda deal, that's why it's so key, right? And I'll leave a poser for you. Xbox had 0 meaningful exclusive bangers over the last several months, perhaps for more than a year, and not even a launch title for its newest device. Tell me, has that hindered the growth of Game Pass subs? No. Xbox hardware is an optional preference, as I keep saying, but Phil specifically used words like legacy, connected communities. He won't be alienating anyone, but everything in the Xbox ecosystem, everybody within it will enjoy all Bethesda content day in, day on Game Pass, and perhaps as a $70 on other formats. And I think that is the clearest illustration that will make all gamers consider or second guess what system they're buying, what service they're subscribing to. And you know what? Xbox actually won't have to raise their voices or a finger in order to illustrate that. So
yeah,
but,
I mean, it's listen, what you said is spot on. There's no doubt about it. But what I want to do is I sent out the bat signal, and 3 Batmen appeared in Cotton McCast, Mav, also known as Fun Speculation, and our good brother Pong Soul. We're going to get their opinions on this monstrous day for Xbox and its millions of fans. And Cotton, welcome back, brother. It has been way too long. How the heck have you been? And more importantly, what are your thoughts on the big news that, yes, Bethesda games are going to be exclusive on Xbox?
Thanks, man. Thanks for extending the invite. I did see the signal and I came equipped. I thought the show was great. I've been good, by the way. I've been busy. Life's been going on, but I think it was huge. A lot of people thought that, the legacy games, like I think Pixelbit dropped a super chat and said, those are the games that have been on the console. Like what most people have been thinking, which would be, Elder Scrolls Online, like Fallout 76, like games that are on there already will be exclusive and continue to be supported. I thought that's pretty clear. And new games going forward.
Yeah, hey,
that hadn't
Cotton,
been-
real quick, your connection is really bad. I'm not sure where you are, brother. You sound like we could barely hear you. You want to drop out and drop back in? We'll come right back to you. All right, thanks, brother. Mav, welcome to the program, Mav. How you feeling?
Hey, what did I miss?
Well, what you missed is, I don't know, Phil Spencer just confirmed that Bethesda games are going to be exclusive to Xbox. And, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know what this show was going to be. We knew that we were going to get Phil. I called it. I said, we're going to get Phil. We're going to get Pete Hines. We're going to get Zemi's Lord and Savior, Todd Howard. I didn't expect Greeny. It was great to see him there. Sarah Bond being there was big, and of course we got a chance to hear from all of the other heads of studios. It was actually, I want to watch it again. I want to sit down and enjoy it later on in peace and prepare for tomorrow's Breakfast with Boom, where this is going to be a big subject. But man, talk about, nailing it right out of the gate. What were your thoughts on the way that that Pete Hines pitched that question to head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, and the way he handled it?
Well, I thought it was pretty dang clear. So I think he's just trying to put all the talk to rest and let people move on to talk about other things. Because what he said was pretty much what everybody's been saying in the Xbox community anyway. And he was clear about that. He said, okay, yes, there are contracts that they have to uphold, and they're going to do that because that's what they do when they make these acquisitions. They honor the contracts. Technically, they don't have to. They could afford to buy out these contracts.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's not their MO. They're not going to do that, and they're going to honor the contracts. That's why he made that a point, right? So that's number one. Number two, he says legacy games, and he also says like ongoing games that are already on platforms. When he talks about that, he's talking about, like you guys have said, like the Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, things that they're not going to just take it away from all these fans that are spending money in an ecosystem. That would just be dumb, right? Because you have millions of players playing these games, pouring money into it. Don't take it away from them, right? But new games that don't have any contractual obligations are going to come to platforms that have Game Pass.
Yep, clear as day.
Clear as day. So the talk is done. The baby's been put to sleep. No more, hey, I wonder if this is going to happen. Hey, we know what it's going to be now. The only question we could have is what games are there potentially contractual obligations for that we may not know about, right? And that would be the only thing. But regardless, that's only going to be a problem for the short term. Long term, they were talking about going over their 10-year roadmap together.
Yeah.
That was exciting to hear. A 10-year roadmap. They're already kind of laying the woodwork of like, hey, what's this going to look like 10 years from now? That's what I am excited about. That's what I'm looking forward to because they're making big plans. And what is that going to look like? And that has me so freaking excited, man. This is a big day for Xbox now that's all been put to bed. I thought the whole show was really good. Going through the interviews with the different developers from all over the world. Just kind of giving their thoughts on it. It shows an inclusivity with Bethesda that's going to be come an inclusivity as part of Xbox. So it's exciting times, man. I couldn't be happier as somebody that's invested into the Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate you jumping in, brother. Thank you so much for hanging out, man. Definitely love what you brought to the table, and I agree 100%. Pong Soul, are you there, brother?
I am, Boom. I am at the office, so I apologize for the audio. Obviously, just making a call in from the phone, so I hope it's okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Listen, let's get your opinion on this. This is the big day for Xbox. This is
Huge,
a big
huge
day.
Huge
This, like I said earlier, this basically drew the line in the sand. I think that there is no denying or confusing at this point what is going to transpire moving forward. I think that even though some some big language was used in regards to corporation business, I think that you walk away from this saying, yeah, I completely understand that where Xbox Game Pass is going to have Bethesda titles moving forward. And we know currently that you don't have that service on PlayStation or Nintendo. Now, could that change? Certainly. Do I think it will? The answer is no. I don't think you ever see it come to PlayStation. I would be very remiss and surprised. Nintendo, that's a little different. I think Nintendo has a great relationship with Microsoft, and that might be something that they want to do together. Maybe even get Nintendo's online up to par by using the Azure servers. Maybe that's some sort of a deal that they work in there, and now they can use Game Pass. But this was a way to, first of all, the production value of this show was fantastic. It was very well narrated. It was paced perfectly. I never felt like I was looking at my watch for when it was going to end, and I wanted more. What are your thoughts on what this means to Xbox, Microsoft, and more importantly, the millions of Xbox players?
Look, this is everything that we talked about the other day, Boom, when we were on the show, and people were asking what we wanted to hear out of that blog post and why we had so many questions. Had this exact quote from Phil been put in that blog post, we wouldn't even had that show. We would have been praising it for exactly what was stated clearly, and the points that were made today defined exactly what we can expect going forward. And that's what we have been talking about on your show, is expectations being set. They have now drawn that line in the sand that we talked about. And yes, do we know every single contract that's out there or that has been signed, maybe years ago or whatever the case may be? No, we don't. And I didn't expect them to go ahead and list off all the stuff that, all the contracts that have been signed and exactly how this is all going to go down. But what it did state clearly was that if you want to play future Bethesda titles, ZeniMax titles, the best place to play them and the only place to play them is going to be on Game Pass, period, and the Xbox ecosystem. And they definitely made the move that we all expected from the beginning, that puts them in a place of power. And they have basically put Sony and Nintendo to a lesser degree, because they do have a good relationship with Nintendo, and I think there are certain things that are moving forward there already, but they definitely put Sony in check and said, okay, your move, now go ahead, what are you going to do? Are we going to get a Game Pass deal done? Maybe allow your players to experience a lot of these games, but you got to put Game Pass on your system. And it puts them in that position where they are now in control of a large portfolio of IPs that are highly desirable. And I think that is something that we talked about that they had to use when you go spend $7.5 billion and you are trying to expand and grow a subscription service that you see as the future. This is what you have to do. And they did it today. And I want to give a huge kudos, because we talked a couple of shows ago, Boom, about kind of our expectations of what a presentation of this deal would look like. This was excellent. This is one of the best produced Microsoft experiences that I've seen in quite a while.
In years, dude.
Exactly.
Years.
Exactly. And it's exactly what I wanted to see all the studios underneath that ZeniMax deal represented, to show the people that are involved with those studios and what it means for them to come to Microsoft and to have a sit down with Todd and Phil and Pete and Sarah Bond and Aaron Greenberg, and I'm sorry, I forget the other lady's name, to have that kind of sit down and interview shows the type of relationship outside of the industry that these people have, and why this was so long in coming. And you get that. I think it was, I don't know who it was that said it earlier. Again, I apologize. I'm at the office, so I was listening while working, but somebody talked about the excitement that they heard in everybody's voices, and you could see it on their faces that this deal was finally done. And to see
that was so obvious, and the positivity that they head
Yeah, it
in
was
the
you,
room. It was
Archimedes.
so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, it was you, Archimedes, and I felt the exact same way. When you said that, I was like, oh man, spot on, exactly what I was feeling. Like, I was excited. I mean, I've already hyped for this, but I got happy and excited for everybody there, and just thinking about what this future means. And then for them to also talk, I mean, I wasn't expecting this much information, but it was fantastic. But then to talk about how enthused they are to talk about the id tech and moving forward and what that's
Dude,
going
when
to
they
mean.
said when they equated the fact that you could potentially get ID tech into
Yep.
some other Xbox first party games,
Yep.
wow, dude,
Yes.
just wow.
That just it just went to everything that we've all of us hardcore fans that have been watching this deal go down have talked about over these past months about the possibilities in the future, what this is going to mean and bring. And in Microsoft, you know, or Xbox and Phil acknowledging that they want that communication, they want that shared technology and shared thought process and shared development across all their studios. I mean, it's limitless what these guys could pull off with all the talent that they have now accumulated underneath one umbrella. It's looking great. I've been saying it. I'll continue to say it. It's the golden age of gaming, and we are, as gamers, are all privileged to be a part of this time period, because we are going to see some incredible stuff come out of this partnership.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. And of course, thank you so much for jumping in here. Definitely appreciate the way you broke it down. I could not agree more. Cotton, well, first of all, Everborn Saga, welcome to the program, brother. We're gonna get to you in a second, dude. Thanks for joining. I know you have a lot to say. Cotton, are you back, bro?
Yeah, how's it
Oh,
sounding?
you sound perfect now, bro.
Okay,
Cotton.
all right.
Okay, so this is a big day for Xbox. This is a day that I listen. I don't poke fingers at people. I don't laugh at I told you so. I'm not a big told you so kind of a guy. But my God, the gaming industry right now is really stewing in it, I should say, especially places like IGN. Who were touting lots of things that were Xbox negativity, and now they have to basically eat it. What does this do for the industry moving forward? That they have just now confirmed Xbox exclusives mean Xbox and PC exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people touched on what I think everyone's thinking as far as the production quality being the top of the line as far as any of these shows we've seen since the pandemic or even before then. I mean, and you said a lot of people made their beds and they got to lay in it now. I think it was a consensus for a while that, certain games moving forward were going to stay multi-plat because they have been already. So the future for Xbox and the ecosystem of Xbox is looking very bright and massive. I mean, it's hard to put into words that haven't been said, but it's just think about how many games are going to be coming down the pipeline and how it's going to affect the way you would expect the way people look at and talk about Xbox as a whole now, and that's it's so vast the way that you can play these games. Like you've talked about before the show went live, whether it's your phone or on PC or wherever the Game Pass ecosystem goes to, whether it's to other platforms later down the road, it's massive for gamers is what it is as a whole, whether that is for people who only get Game Pass in the future on an app on their phone or through their TV, or if there's a deal down the line with a Nintendo situation, who knows? But the games are going to be huge, dude. And I think hats off to Xbox for making it happen, because I remember months ago, whenever the deal was for ZeniMax being up for sale was being rumored at all, and everyone was like, oh, I mean, there's no way, like $7 billion, for someone to buy it. And of course Microsoft's the one who could do it.
Yep.
But I think it's exciting. I'm at a little bit of a loss of words, just because this is the type of thing that we were dreaming about and talking about even way back before when we were going on about the Warner Brothers acquisition.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yep, sure do.
It's one of the biggest deals ever, if not the biggest deal in gaming to happen. It's so much of, like you guys said, with how they talked about other studios being able to collaborate with id Tech. They already do that, but that's just a huge. You just have so much more talent coming in now. It's unreal, and Bethesda's always been like a household name unto itself with games like the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and I think people really aren't ready exactly. I think we're ready, to see, but what's going to come of this is it's day one, like they said, like, oh, now we finally get to start working together, and there was that excitement there. So I think it's going to be awesome. I don't know. I don't think something will ever happen with Game Pass going to Sony. I wouldn't be opposed to it. But as you guys said before, with Game Pass being the exclusive, unto itself, that was a big conversation that really I agreed with. And, what comes into Game Pass and where Game Pass goes is, remains to be seen. But where it's at right now, and it's on your Xbox, it's on your PC, it's on your phone, and
soon to be on your TV.
It's soon to be on your TV too. Exactly. So it's huge, man. I'm not gonna sit here and talk in circles for too long, but I really think it was one of the best produced shows. I think it was pre-recorded. I don't know. I saw that it was like a premiering show on YouTube, and it wasn't. I didn't say like live. So all those critiques of people being like, well, why don't you just, pre-record these things and make the production quality as top-notch as it can be? And that's one of the things they do is they listen. Xbox really listens. So, hats off to them.
Yeah, and a great job all around. Definitely appreciate you jumping in here. And we definitely got to have you back on for sure, brother. Yeah. Everborn Saga. This is the day that you've been talking about. I think that you were spot on a couple of days ago on the record-breaking amount of views we got for primetime gaming this last Monday. And here we go. The gauntlet has been dropped, so to speak. What are your thoughts on the confirmation that if you want to play Bethesda games moving forward, you got to get somehow involved into the ecosystem? Is this what Microsoft wanted, and did they knock it out of the park today?
Yeah, but see, to me, I've said this before, I think the victory was on Tuesday, right? When everybody was, sort of apprehensive about the language of the word some, and I'm starting to see posts with like dictionary, like exact definitions of the word some. I just said, like, everybody relax. Firstly, if you're an Xbox gamer, you already won, right? You won when the deal was closed. Your subscription just got more valuable. But the other part of it is there are certain things that we knew, right? And those things were, guess what? They have pre-existing contracts, and those pre-existing contracts might be more than Tokyo Ghostwire and Deathloop, right?
Right.
So we knew that. We all suspected that the sort of MMO, sort of games as a service stuff would stay multi-plat. And and then now the word becomes legacy. And what does legacy mean? We know that they said that we're not pulling any games out of stores. There are a lot of games that are in other platform storefronts that are
going to remain.
Yeah. Right. So all of this, we need them to come out and say F you Sony or F you everyone that said Xbox got no games. Like, we didn't need that. We needed to know that the games would be in Game Pass, and he said it in the blog post, there would be exclusives. And now he just, because they're listening to us,
yes,
and they acknowledge us, and they come to our shows, and they interact with us on social media, they know what we're saying, right? So Phil came out and said, look, this is about exclusives. And anyone with a brain would say that if you know that their goal is to increase Game Pass subscriptions, you have to do that with exclusive content.
Yes.
That's just the
that's common sense is what that is.
Right? So there was never anything to be sort of upset about. And not everybody was like, oh, communication. He said day one, we couldn't talk about it all this time, right? I think this is kind of like what I'm seeing with WandaVision, the finale, how you had a lot of people that were upset because they had their own theories. And then you know, Kevin Feige didn't do the theory that they made up in their head, even though that there was no precursor for it. I think a lot of people had this idea in their head that with this acquisition, they would be able to go back to Twitter and go to all the Xbox trolls and say, ha, now look who has no games. Ha, you can't have my games, right? But that's not what this deal is about. And if you're a gamer, and that's not what it should be about. It should be that, you know, in this platform, you are getting your money's worth. And I think
100%
now, right? So that's the thing. It was never going to be that kind of thing. And also, you know, that Microsoft, it's not about playing the nice guy, because I think if you look at this deal and you look at the statements on exclusivity and you look at the fact that they're trying to lock down more studios or publishers, it's not nice guy. It's just speak softly and carry a big stick.
Yep.
Right. So we, you know, we don't need that from them just to have arguments. What we need from them is games. And again, you know, that now people are talking about what the next acquisition is. I don't know that I care about what the next acquisition is unless it's Capcom.
Yeah,
but,
then we care. Then we care.
Yeah, but I don't care right now.
Then we riot.
Yeah, the good riot. It's like
yes, absolutely.
Tough riot, right? So but the thing is, what the focus needs to be now is, and again, is why I like that the whole thing. And I specifically waited, like I wanted to watch the whole thing before I jumped in, and I started it late. That's why I came late. But they talked about the sharing of tech.
That's
right?
big. Yeah,
and
huge.
So what we need now is we need the fruit of this to sort of grow, right? So the seeds are planted now. Let's see what we'll reap. And what we need to reap is high quality games, right?
Yeah.
Now is the time to release. So if Starfield is ready this year, and speaking of Starfield, I have resigned myself to not having any feelings about Starfield until I see at least 30 seconds of uncut gameplay, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah. No, I
just know I'm supposed to be excited about it, but there's really no proof other than a name. And I like the name, but that's all I can do. But that said, they now need to deliver on the promise. And that's what it's going to be. And guess what? Starfield might be multi-plat if it's coming out this year, because maybe they have contracts, and we can't go and start crying about that and say, see, look at this and that. We all knew that this was a long-term play.
Yeah.
So it could be in the near future, maybe for the next year, 2 years, whatever else, that you will see new games be multi-platform. It does not mean that they don't care about you as a customer because they're putting it in Game Pass. It means that they had a pre-existing contract.
Yeah.
And I know we all sort of like to live in the moment, but I want everyone to prepare their emotions and say, we will see some things. I think the word should be some multi-plat games, right? We will see some multi-plat games, maybe the ones we don't expect. Maybe Indiana Jones, maybe Starfield, maybe Wolfenstein 3. But again, those are pre-existing contracts. And we knew from the beginning that everything wouldn't be exclusive. And we knew from the beginning that they would honor their contracts, because what kind of asshole doesn't?
Yeah, no, right? I absolutely, I absolutely agree.
All good news. All we need to know before the whole exclusive thing plays out, because they will be exclusive eventually. Before all that plays out, just know that you don't have to worry about what's exclusive, because you get it in your subscription. That is the number one thing to worry about. And again, for a console or a platform with no games, there's a lot of port begging. And there's a lot of cheerleading and I told you so's when they hear they're getting a game that they supposedly didn't want, or games that didn't exist. So you've won as an Xbox fan, no matter where what contracts they have in place and what MMOs they support and what games they keep in store. So no more doom and gloom. I'm not saying that we're doom and gloom, but anybody, if you're an Xbox fan, you won. This is the time to celebrate.
No, I absolutely agree. I think that a lot was done today. A lot of misunderstandings that happened on Tuesday were clarified. But this has been, first of all, this has been an incredible day for Xbox gamers. But personally, it has been an incredible day for me as a content creator. I started my regular show like we always do on Thursdays at 12. Try to do something new for the channel and stream live. The event, and it was unfortunately hit by some technical issues, and then had to restart a new stream, a new set that up in the background, and had no idea how it was going to go. We were going to get 50 people, 500 people, or 10 people. I had no idea, folks. We almost hit 1,000 people here. That is record-breaking viewage for this very, very small channel. I've been only doing YouTube for 3.5 years. I am sitting here numb on how well today went. I cannot thank you enough for tuning in. I do want to catch up with some of the super chats before we do the outros and get everyone out of here, and because I don't want to forget anybody. And there's been quite a few super chats, and I would be remiss if I didn't at least get to some of them. Victor Alistine drops a $5 super chat and says, "Boom, my last super chat wasn't clear. Sorry. However, Phil just said what I was implying. I also think selling at $70 on PlayStation would be tough." I agree. I think a $70 game or almost an $80 game here in New York is a tough sale. Smitty Smith drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and he says this. It's actually quite funny. "Hey, IGN, please proceed to pick your face up off the floor. The Book of X." Midway Monster drops an outstanding $5 super chat, and he says, "Sports analogy here. Getting Bethesda is like getting a franchise quarterback. We are contenders, not pretenders. Great day to be an Xbox fan." Indeed, and thank you for your generosity. Psychonauts 8. "What's up, dude? How's everything?" He drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "Future of Xbox is going to be exciting. Who's ready for what is going to be shown this summer?" Oh, I am. 2 shows. 2 big Xbox shows. One Bethesda, one Xbox. It's going to be incredible. Gotham Guy. Hey, dude. He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Let me say congrats for over 900 people in the chat on this great day for Xbox fans. Phil's clear message today put all the rumors to rest. They've signed their quarterback. Now let's play some football." Indeed. And we have X Burke. "Hey, dude, thanks so much for being here." He drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says this: "Xbox has created such a brilliant, clear choice for non-exclusive games. Game Pass or pay full price. You'd be basically have to have a mental deficiency of dishing out $70 per title moving forward." Yeah, they make it hard for you to do that. East Texas Alex drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of games coming to Game Pass. I'm going to need a vacation just to find time to play them all." Hit that like button, people. Well, thanks so much for being here, brother. Eagles fan 76, a generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says, "The biggest thing is the studios can just create and let Microsoft worry about the budget. When problems come, you can't just collaborate on projects and tech." Yeah, no, I agree. I think the biggest excitement here is the collaborations. And again, I think for me, knowing that some ID tech is going to go into some other first-party Microsoft IPs is ridiculously exciting. Smitty Smith, wow, dude, he drops another outstanding $2 super chat and says, "There's no power greater than X, the Book of X." Indeed. East Texas Alex drops another very generous $5 super chat and says, "So I think it's safe to say that Game Pass will hit 25 million subscribers before the end of the year." I have a feeling, Texas, that I think that they hit 25 million based on this news before E3, and they announced that at E3. Logical Tech drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Wolfenstein 3 will be exclusive to Game Pass if no contractual obligations exist. It's an easy way to grow Game Pass by several 100,000 subs." Yes, I think when you start seeing, and for me personally, guys, I think the real salvo, if you will, is when they announce Starfield and when it says exclusive to Xbox Game Pass. I think that is where you're going to get people to say, you know what, I can no longer ignore what they're doing over here at Xbox. And I think that is exactly why the Xbox Series S was created. So if you are a PlayStation owner, and mostly a diehard PlayStation owner, I think that at some point you can no longer ignore what they're doing over at Xbox, and you go out and you get one. No one's saying you leave PlayStation, but you definitely give yourself a second console in your home to take advantage of the value proposition. Smitty Smith, wow, he drops another $5 super chat, and he says this: Xbox just shook the world, shook up the world. The winds of change are blowing. The Book of X, indeed. And CYV Studios drops a $5 super chat and says, "I just want to congratulate Boom and the panel. You were about to hit 1K people watching live. I haven't wanted to." The live stream from the Xbox. Oh, you haven't watched the stream? Yeah, dude, you definitely got to watch that. I think it was done so freaking well. Logical Tech drops an additional $5 super chat and says, Game Press. Xbox Starfield exclusive equals bad. PS5 GWT and Deathloop exclusive equals good. When in a video game and Superman just killed the Joker. That's funny, dude. Faisal Asan. Hey, welcome, Faisal. He drops us a very generous $5 super chat and says, Stadia is a prime example of what happens if you pay $70 for a game you already own, i.e. through Game Pass, even if Xbox decides to release games on PlayStation 5. Indeed, that's a strong point. We have another few of them come in, and Smitty Smith, wow, dude, thank you so much for your generosity today. He says, damn, I remember when someone who we all know used to say Game Pass was and never was. I guess they didn't go. I guess that didn't age well, did it? The Book of X. Yeah, we know what you're talking about, brother, but we don't know. We don't name names here. And Z Black Rider. Wow, he dropped another $10 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. He says, GD, I just bought a 36-foot sailboat. When do I play? Oh my goodness. And Michael Culloch drops a $5 super chat and says, I have this feeling that Starfield may be one of those games bound by past contractual agreements. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, again, we don't know, but listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new to the channel, I do want to please ask that you consider subscribing to Double Barrel Gaming. I think you're going to really enjoy what I do weekly, 4 live shows, and sometimes we get special events like this that I cover. My panels are all filled with really intelligent gamers who don't come here just to dump on other consoles. We always have a great conversation. I think that you will dig it. And we'll start with Clear Statement Archimedes. Archimedes, tell everyone about where they can reach out to you and catch, potentially strike up a conversation, but more importantly, check out your outstanding YouTube channel.
Yeah, first of all, thanks, Boom, for having me. What an awesome day for Xbox. What an awesome day to be a gamer, to be honest. It's been a blast on the show. The live stream was fun. So thank you for having me on here. And yeah, you can find me basically everywhere at Boxenberger. I do have a little YouTube channel that puts out 1 or 2 videos per week where I cover certain topics of the gaming industry. It's not usually a news channel per se. It's more a commentary channel to the gaming world. And if you're into this kind of content, definitely check that out. And you can always find me on Twitter, on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, everywhere at Boxenberger. Yeah. So thanks, Boom, for having me. And yeah, I can't wait for the next show next week.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that for sure. Thanks so much for being here. 3-Bit, why don't we get you on out of here, brother? Thanks so much for being here. Tell everyone where they can strike up a conversation, but more importantly, check out your outstanding YouTube channel.
Everyone can follow me on YouTube. It's The Video Games HD. My Twitter is The VGHD. It's always a pleasure being on the Factor Podcast every Thursday. It's cool having the Ultimate Crew in here with Mav and Pongso, who also dropped by. We do that show every Friday if anyone wants to check it out. Great show. Thanks to everybody that's been in here. It's been a crazy day. Make sure you guys like on the way out. Boom works really hard on these shows, and it's a awesome day for Xbox people. So be sure to like on the way out, and thanks Boom, and thanks to the panel.
Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Logan Meyer, brother, thanks so much for being here. I know you're probably already hard at work at the next article for lordsofgaming.net. Tell everyone about what you do on that website, and more importantly, where could people reach out and strike up a conversation?
Well, thank you so much for the intro, and yeah, I am right for Lords of Gaming, and I've been doing some interviews for it as well. I actually have one that I'm editing right now with Tim Dog that's gonna be
dude.
up on Lords of Gaming next week, and then I have a few other article ideas in mind and some potential interviews down the road. So you can check me out on Twitter at LOGMEY92. Twitter's pretty much where you're going to find me. So this has been a pleasure to be here. And man, this has been a great day as an Xbox fan. I'll be honest, I was a little tentative heading into the event. I was just like, I really hope they nail the messaging. And they really, really did. Like, I have zero concerns whatsoever. It's like, obviously you have to honor whatever. You have to honor previous agreements.
Yeah.
So that's expected, and I'm just can't wait for the future.
Yeah, no, me too, brother. And I love what you're doing over at lordsofgaming.net. Head over there and check out that website. They are legit, and he is certainly one of the legit writers for there. Fun Speculation. Mav, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. What you guys do at the Xbox Ultimate Podcast weekly on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is something that I look forward to. I'm going to be a guest in a couple of weeks. Cannot wait to join you, Caitlin, and the crew. Tell everyone about that podcast, and where could people reach out and strike up a conversation.
Thanks for the surprise link, Boom. That was exciting. So Friday nights we have the Xbox Ultimate Podcast on the YouTube channel that I have. It's called Fun Speculation, is where you can find it on YouTube. Also, that's how you can find me on Twitter, is Fun Speculation. We have Pong Soul, we have 3-Bit. We have a new member to the podcast panel as well. As Psychonauts is joining us. It's my wife obviously joins us on there as well. It's going to be an absolute
I can't wait for this Friday.
Show.
Cannot wait for this Friday.
I have not been as excited for a show as I am this Friday night. It is going to be insane. We're going to go deep diving into the golden age of Xbox is starting, and I'm looking forward to it. Anybody that wants to come by and check that out, come do that. Also, on the same channel, we have Fun Pop. It's a new podcast that we just started. To talk about other things, Marvel, DC, TV shows, movies, all that fun stuff. I do that with 3-Bit. Also, Psychonauts is there as well. But also, I am a panel member on 4 Guys with Quarters. I have been for a few months now. Today is a big day, Boom.
Oh, that's going to be a big show.
Yeah, 3-Bit is going to guest as well on this episode. We have some crazy big interviews with some very influential people of Marvel over the last several years. Jimmy Palmiotti is one of them. The other one is a surprise right now. Okay. And I hope everybody stops by and checks that out on 4 Guys with Quarters. It starts at 6:30 Eastern. It's gonna be broadcast also to the MCU Facebook page.
Nice.
So we're looking forward to it. Clowns put a lot of work together for that. So hope to see everybody there.
Well, thanks so much for the information. And yes, that's going to be great. Oh, Zemi drops a $5 super chat and says, did everyone forget about the FPS boost? Xbox no longer needs to wait for permission for FPS boost any Bethesda game. My first super chat. Glad to be supported. Well, thanks, Zemi. Definitely appreciate that. And thank you for the information. Cotton McCast, let me get you on out of here, brother. Tell everyone about what you got going on and where could people reach out and strike up a conversation?
Oh, yeah, man. Thanks for shooting up the signal and sending the invite out. That was awesome. I've been busy, man. I've been busy. Life's been really doing me in, but I'm getting ready to hopefully be on some more shows. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, this was another headlining size chapter in the Book of X. So, you know, the future's looking bright. Also, that Fun Pop podcast sounds pretty cool. I'll definitely swing by and check that out.
I love that. Yeah.
thanks for the invite again. You can hit me up on Twitter. It's Cotton McCast on there, and hopefully I'll be around here more often.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Well, I'll be hitting you up in the DM for sure.
Cool.
Thanks so much for being here, Cotton. And last but not least, Everborn Saga. Thanks for jumping in, brother. I know that you're between meetings. Tell everyone about Everborn Saga and where could people reach out and strike up a conversation.
Yes. But before I start, Fun or Mav?
Yes.
What do you prefer, Mav or Fun Speculation?
Fun Speculation is the name of the channel, so I have that as my Twitter handle, but I go by Mav.
Okay, all right, beautiful. Listen, if you ever need an extra guest on Fun Pop, that's all the way up my alley.
Oh, dude,
that's what I'm talking about.
You have already been on my mind 100%. I've already talked to 3-Bit and Psychonauts about it, and just keep your DMs open, man, because that definitely has been something I wanted to do. So we just got started. This was like our 3rd episode of Fun Pop that we just did, so getting our feet wet a little bit. But yeah, I definitely love to have you on there, man. That'd be a blast.
All right, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. So, Everborn Saga. You can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and Twitter at Everborn Saga. But more importantly, check out everbornsaga.com where you can see all of the comic books that we produce. So we've got Prince of Arcadia chapter 1 through 3 right now. And we are launching Ariel's Adventure, the 2nd series in the Everborn Saga. That's on Kickstarter right now. If you go to everbornsaga.com and click the link at the top, it'll take you straight to the campaign. We hit our goal within 24 hours, and now we have stretch goals going so that we can release the Everborn novel. It's called The Remnant. So we need to get an editor on there. We got to pay for printing. So if we hit that stretch goal, we'll be able to bring out the first Everborn novel, and we have some very interesting tiers there where you can become a character in the Everborn Saga. And check that out if you can. But everbornsaga.com and Everborn Saga everywhere else, especially Twitter. I'm very active these days. Check me out.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much for the information. And thank you, everyone, the near 1,000 people that tuned in for today's big show. Tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where King David of the Iron Lords podcast is going to be joining the Breakfast with Boom crew to break down all of this madness that happened today. And, of course, please be safe, wear a mask, don't take COVID for granted, and we will see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor podcast. Take care, everyone. Thanks so much for being here.